Hi, finally getting round to a little video to help you in your pregnancy for your back and just a little bit of feeling good and finding a bit of movement, especially in the lower back, hips, pelvis area. Maybe if you've got a bit of sciatica, um, and also we'll work on opening up across the chest a little bit and the shoulders. So hopefully feel good all around. Okay. Um, so we'll get started on the floor. I'm going to use a chair, um, against the wall. So you won't need to use the chair. You could do this without the chair, but yeah, get a chair if you've got one. So sitting on the mat to start with, nice and tall. I'm sitting on a cushion, just to feel a little bit elevated, and sitting forward onto the sit bones. You could have the legs out in front. If you do have your legs out in front to support under the knees, you could also have your back against the wall. That's really quite nice. Helps you get upright, pressing the shoulders back into the walls. Quite nice. It's a nice way to sit. And just taking a moment to focus on your breath. So we're going to start right away, not doing a breath practice with this one, but you are going to be conscious of your breath while going through it, which would be good. So allowing your shoulders to relax down. And when you're ready, taking a big inhale and reach the arms up. We're just going to just gently reach up, reach through the fingers, turn the palms, and then release it down. Releasing the shoulders with it, tuck the chin. Inhale, taking another, just a nice big sweep up, just getting us to sit a little taller. And exhale, releasing it down and getting into the breath a little bit. Maybe roll the shoulders back. Inhale, big reach up, reaching through the fingers, and exhale, bringing it down. Okay, so resting the hands on the knees, and we're just going to start to make a few circles. So maybe notice you coming forward onto the sit bones and rolling back a little bit. So trying to move through the range of the pelvic movement if you can. So tilting up and back and round and forward as you come through the circles. These can be as little or as big as you wish. Just looking for that little bit of articulation. Okay, settling back into the middle. Interlace the fingers, press the hands away around the upper back, tuck the chin in, and take a breath there. On your next inhale, reach the arms up, bringing the chest a little bit forward, reaching up as far as you can, and then releasing it down, relaxing the shoulders again. Inhale, pushing away and reaching up. Exhale, releasing the hands down. And this time, one more time. Inhale, pushing away, reaching up. And as you release one hand, bring it down to one side and keep reaching over with the other hand. Taking a few nice long breaths there, maybe turning through the hand now, so you're rotating through the shoulder a little bit, and drop this arm round and down. Coming into the other side, pressing the palms away, reaching up, big reach over and stretch up and over. So trying to keep the hip down into the floor or your cushion. Maybe turn the arm round now, spiral the shoulder as well, reaching through the length of the fingers. And release it down. Last little thing, while we're seated, we're just going to take a just gentle twist. Inhale, lift up and spiral round through the spine. Turn to one side. Maybe take the hand to the knee or to the shin, or if your legs are forward, just to the side of the leg is nice. Look into the side. So no force here, no holding the breath. Still trying to sit up onto the sit bones if you can, and release. One more time. Inhale, lift, and we're taking it to the other side this time. Spiral to the opposite side. And again, just focusing on a nice gentle breath there if you can. It's lovely. And release. Okay, I'm going to come on to hands and knees. I meant to take my blanket, but I didn't. So I'm going to release, get rid of my cushion, get a blanket for under your knees if you feel you need it. You can also put something underneath your bottom as you sit back down onto your heels. We're going to tuck our toes to start with and sit onto the heels, knees onto the mat or onto a rug or your cushion, your preference. Shoulders are rolling down. And think about length through the front of the body, lifting the chin slightly. So we're not jutting the chin out, but we're lifting it. And then maybe take the hands in behind, interlace the fingers and lift away from the back. And coming on to our hands and knees, release the toes. Might feel a bit nicer now that they're released. We're just going to take a few sways. So we're circling one way and then the other. Grip with your fingertips a little bit and press into the knuckle area. Takes a little bit of the weight out of your wrists. Don't want to overstress the wrists too much. And then circling the other way. So I'm not really circling the pelvis at the moment. I'm circling around through the shoulders, wrists, knees, and hip joints. Okay, from here, we're now going to start to see if we can make circles with the bottom. So this time we are circling into the movement of the pelvis. So yeah, circling one way and then the other. Maybe you're snaking side to side. It's really quite nice as well. Or looking over the shoulder, see if you can see the hip as you snake. Settling back into the center. And then we're going to inhale, chest coming forward, allowing everything to sink down through the middle bit, pushing the mat away as you lift the chin. Exhale, chin to chest. Keep pushing the mat down and try and lift the back between the shoulder blades as much as possible. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, round and back. Squeeze the bottom. Really see if you can tuck the bottom under. Inhale. Extend through the front of the spine. Exhale, round the back. And we're going to sink back towards the heels. Take the toes together and allow yourself to sit back towards the heels. Doesn't matter if you don't get there. But if you can, take the knees wide and that feels comfortable in the hips and the pelvis, then take them as wide as feels comfortable for you and come down onto the elbows. So from here, you can stack the fists and rest your forehead in the fists, or if you had a bolster, it's really quite nice to relax the upper chest and side of the head onto the bolster. And you've still got space in here to relax. So allow your hips to be heavy, sinking back. Maybe you wiggle a little bit. Inhale deeply. And as you exhale, try and allow this whole area to be heavy towards the heels. If you are lying in a bolster, it's nice to then reposition yourself and turn the face in the opposite direction so that you're lying on the opposite cheek for a little while. And then again, focusing on your breath. Taking a nice steady inhale and steady exhale, allowing each breath you to sink into the hips a little bit more. So this is a supported child's pose. Again, there's absolutely no problem with you just being on your elbows and the head resting on the hands. From here, coming back up, press into the hands, back up onto the knees, taking the knees back underneath the hips so they're hip width apart. And we're going to come into a puppy pose. So stretching the hands forward, reaching forward as far as you're comfortable. Thumbs are almost touching, fingertips spread, pushing into that knuckle area of the fingers so you're out of the wrists a little bit, and then pushing the hips back as you drop the head between the arms. So again, depending on your range of movement, if you can bring the head to the floor, yep, go ahead. Or you may wish to put the bolster there and rest the head on the bolster again. That's a really nice, relaxing way to be. If you don't have a bolster, yeah, a couple of cushions or a couple of pillows in one pillowcase is always good. So taking a nice deep inhale, lift up from the mat, and you're going to reach both hands round to one side. And as you do, so I've come round to the left, you're going to reach the furthest away hand further forward. So I've reached my right hand a little bit further round, so I get this stretch along this right side of the body. You could even come onto the elbow of that left side and rest the head. So remember to go mindfully with a movement that works for you, the one that's right for you today. And then we're going to come back to center and coming round to the other side. So you're reaching, if you're on a mat, you're past the mat on that right side, and you're now reaching the left arm further forward. Again, you can rest onto the elbow if that felt good. And go steady with the breath if you can. Okay, walking the hands back in and coming back on to the heels just for a moment. Okay, I'm going to come up and use the chair now against the wall. Well, so carefully coming up, however is good for you. And I'm going to work from, probably just the one side of the chair. So, let's see what space we've got. Okay, move across a little bit. So starting with the same cat-cow position. So bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, feet are underneath the hips, and the knees a little bit soft, and allowing yourself to make a few hip circles here. So reaching the bottom back and up if you can, and allowing the tummy to tilt forward and down, and then maybe soften the knees and pull it all up and see if you can round that lower area of the back. Inhale, dropping it down, extending through the front of the spine and tilting the pelvis as much as possible. Knees can still be bent. This is quite extensive in the back of the legs, and then round in the back, drawing it all in and up if you can, as much as you can. Extending again. Maybe feel the length of the muscles across the bottom now. And release. Okay, from here, so keeping that tilt just now, we are going to go both ways with everything. Maybe you can come down onto the elbows and drop the head down. And it's quite a nice place to maybe keep swaying or keep making circles if that feels good for you. We're just looking for those little bits of movement in the body if we can. And then from here, we're going to step back and see if you can drop the head down between the arms. Arms are supported on the chair, and you're reaching your hips as far back as possible. Feet can be wider than hip width, they can be bent, and you can be reaching back and forth through each leg. Okay, carefully coming back up to stand, upside down for a little while. If you want these poses, every single one of them can be held for quite a length of time. Okay, stepping forward with the right foot and stepping back a little bit with the left, and keeping both legs straight this time. Maybe taking the hands down to the mat, to the chair. The mat's quite a long way away. Or maybe you can come onto the elbows. So thinking about bringing the chest further forward, try not to drop down too much, and keeping the legs straight, drawing that right hip back. Those of you who are really flexible, without overstraining it, you could come to rest the head down on the chair. But watch that you're not overdoing it today. And then releasing it back up, walking the hands back up if you've come all the way down. And then we're going to turn the hips. So we're stepping the left leg back a little bit and coming into a triangle pose of sorts. So the right leg straight, left leg straight, pushing the hand into the chair. It could be fingertips if that feels better for you. You could be leaning in the back of the chair if that's coming too deep here. And if you can, you're reaching up that top arm, big reach up, squeezing the fingers together and creating this length along here. So you're pressing down into the outside edge of that foot, and maybe you wish to reach the arm overhead. Releasing it down, turning forward and stepping that foot in. Okay, coming up to stand. So I'm going to come into a twist with the leg on the chair. So we'll start with the leg that's closest to the wall. So for me, that's my right leg. So I've brought it up onto the top of the chair. So as long as this is not too high for you and it feels okay, you feel nice and steady, think about standing leg being nice and strong, lifting up nice and tall. Maybe you're just going to take one hand to the wall and turn a little bit towards that side. Or possibly you can turn all the way to the wall and put both hands there. Thinking about being tall and that stretch in the side of the hip, twist in the back. Don't force any of the movement. And then release, turn into the front. So we can do this again with the other side. It's not nearly as deep a twist. Taking the left foot up. Maybe you wish to push into it, giving a stretch into the front of the hands, the front of the hip flexor on the right side. Thinking about standing tall and turning open this time. So try not to let the knee roll in, and we're turning, taking both feet, hands to the wall and turn to face the wall. And release. Okay, we're going to come around the chair and do it the other side. So these are all just working a little bit into the legs and the pelvis and the twist into the back. So yeah, creating a little bit of space throughout the body. So if you wish, we can start with the cat-cow again. We have done it on the other side, so we don't need to do it for so long. But out of everything that you do, coming into your cat-cow is possibly going to be one of the best things for you. So it's good to hit it again. So watch that you're not sinking too much into your wrists. You could be on the fists if that feels safer for you. Legs can be straight. And again, we're tilting the pelvis up, well, back, and then rolling it underneath. Allowing it to roll forward and tucking back underneath. And then maybe coming through the back as well, chest lifting, rounding the upper back as you go. And again. If you wish, keeping that tilt to the pelvis and coming down onto the elbows, dropping the head in. Maybe this is where you wish to rock back and forth at. It's going to lengthen all the muscles in the back line of the legs and the hips and the back, lower back. Dropping the head down. And then this could be, you could be a lot higher up here. You could have the knees bent. It's all about finding those little bits of tension in your body and using the breath and a little bit of movement to help release them. Walking the hands back in, taking left foot forward, right foot's back. So yeah, it doesn't have to be too far apart. Thinking about keeping the legs straight, hips square, and the fingertips here, chest lifted. This might be enough for you. You may wish to come down onto the elbows. Keep the gaze slightly forward for this one and keep drawing that left hip back as you push firmly down into both heels. And again, if you wanted to relax, you could drop the head to the chair. Long, steady inhale.
and soft, relaxing exhale.
Inhale, coming back up. Okay, and we're going to turn. So I'm going to turn my hips open, right foot's parallel to the end of my mat, left foot is turning along the length of the mat. So the hips rotated and spreading the arms and come into it the same as you would if we came into Trikonasana, taking the hand to the chair and then reaching this top arm up, stretching across the front of the chest with that reach. If you can come a bit deeper, reach across a little bit. Maybe bring this top arm over. Inhale, bringing it all the way back up and release there. Okay, so we're going to do that twist again to the wall. So starting with, we'll start with the open side this time. So I'm going to pick the furthest leg up away from the wall. My feet are both parallel, hip width apart, could be slightly wider. You don't jump up onto your chair. You could, yeah, depending how fit you are in your pregnancy. Just be careful, don't fall over. Okay, and take the twist to the wall. So hands placed on the wall, yeah, kind of shoulder height. Really doesn't matter. You're really looking for that movement through the hips if you can. It's all kind of nice stretches that we can do at the wall. I'll do them another day. And focusing on your breath again. Okay, and release. Turning back to the chair and taking it into the other side, lifting up this left leg, standing tall, and then take the twist. So maybe taking yourself to the walls just a bit more than you need. Hands could just be on the outside of the hip and knee, and think about rolling that left shoulder back as you turn towards the wall. Maybe you take the hands to the wall. And focus on your breath. Okay. Settling back to the front and we'll release. So we could do this sitting in the chair. I'm going to take it back to the floor because I think you've got a little bit more options if you do this pose on the floor than on the chair. If you find getting up and down from the floor is becoming difficult for you, yeah, by all means, do this on the chair. You just won't be able to move through it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is bring both legs forward to start with. Don't go against the wall because we are going to lean back. In fact, I probably shouldn't have gone on a cushion. And you're going to take your right leg up to stand to start with and place the right foot onto the top of the thigh above the knee. So I will come off the cushion so I can show you what I'm doing. There's a few things you can do here. So the reason you've got a little bit more options than if you're on a chair is if you lean back, there's a chance you'll get the foot onto the top of the thigh more than if you're on the chair. If you're on the chair and your feet can reach the floor, if your feet don't reach the floor, put a block underneath your feet. That's a lesson for another day. Okay, so you could be sitting here and maybe you already feel it in the outside of this hip. So inhale, chest lift, maybe on your fingertips, and you're thinking about maybe a little move into the hip a little bit. If you can take the left foot up to stand, you're going to take that in. So this is the one that the closer you get to that bent leg, my right leg, the one that's bent out to the side, the deeper the stretch is going to be on this outside of the hip. So you can take the hands to behind the left thigh and bring yourself a little bit more forward and up. You've got a bit more movement here. If that's getting a bit intense, take the leg forward and think about maybe pitching forward from the fingertips rather than bringing the leg in closer. But if you can, yeah, bring it in as close as possible. I would say with the hands that's behind, pushing them out to the side, gripping with the fingertips, making sure you're not collapsing into the wrists at all, and keep the chest lifted as well, and keep breathing. And it's quite nice to move this for a little bit of the pose and then hold steady. And then release. Coming into the other side, allow both legs to come long. In fact, we'll take a little wide leg forward fold just to start with. So wide, not fully wide leg, just, yeah, double width from your hips, say. And allow yourself to wiggle a little forward, hopefully up onto the sit bones if you can. So it's that pelvic tilt again, and sit tall. So this is not about coming flat. This isn't a forward fold where you fold yourself in half. That's not happening today. But what we are looking for is this reach up out of the pelvis if you can. Allowing your belly to nestle between your thighs if you can. And if you wish, you can make yourself go round and floppy and, yeah, hang into it if that feels good for you. Nice deep inhale. Soft exhale. Okay. Last side. Coming back up, leaning into the hands. Right leg comes long. Left foot coming up to rest on top of the right thigh. Flex the feet if you can. So this just keeps everything nice and safe, and yeah, keeps a little bit of tension on all the muscles. And if you wish, you can bring that foot up to stand. So your option as to how deep you come into this. So depending where you are in your pregnancy, it's really quite nice to do this one on your back. So if you're still comfortable on your back, come onto your back and pull the legs in. Just don't stay there for too long if you're quite late in the pregnancy. So if you're third trimester, you don't want to be on your back flat for any great length of time. And if it does feel wrong to you, don't do it. Hold the pose if you can, as well as doing the active moving. It's good to get the two types of stretching. And use your breath to settle. Okay, and release. Bringing it forward. Bringing both legs forward again. And we're just going to rock side to side. And that's me done. That's all I'm going to share with you just now. This would be quite nice to do in the morning or in the evening before you're going to bed, or yeah, do this and then have a bath and then go off to bed. Just squeeze out some niggles in your body if you can. Okay, I hope it's good, and I shall speak to you later. Anything you're wanting to know more about, give me a shout. You know how to get a hold of me.